Hi, good evening and welcome to our webinar for today. So it's about it's pleasure to have all of you with us. So we have one of our alumni who is going to talk to us about his journey as well as how the field he's working in has been defined with the trajectory he's taken through as well. So my name is Shautam Mitro. As usual, I'm the host. I'm the senior manager growth for Amity Future Academy. And today I'll be talking to our esteemed alumni, Mr. Purushottam, who has been so kind in providing us his 30 minutes of time to talk to us, as well as give us his say thoughts about how HR, the domain of HR, is being transformed currently, and how what the future might bring with it as well. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Purushottam.
Thank you, Mitra. Good afternoon, everyone, and I hope everyone is keeping safe.
Yes,
We are running through unusual times, and it's a good opportunity for all of us to connect on different aspects and talk about things that matter a lot. And analytics is, of course, one of them when it comes to HR. So thank you again for having me, and I hope
right.
it's a productive session for everybody.
Yes, definitely. So, without further ado, Mr. Purushottam has been an alumni with Amity. He has completed his HR Analytics PG course with us as well. And as you can see, he has a very varied domain, very extensive experience that he has in the domain of HR itself. So, Mr. Purushottam, uh, we know that all of us can see that you have had quite an extensive experience as well as learning in this domain as well. So, how do you think? How did you come into the HR domain itself? Like, what was the
Uh,
first
I
initial
I
to?
would call it destiny or an accident. I
Right.
come from a sales background. I'm not an HR professional. I did not have it in my mind when I started
Oh,
my career almost 23 years back that I want to get into
right.
HR. My mind was set more
Right.
towards the sales field, and that's where I entered. And fortunately enough, I'm with the same company currently, the one that you see on the screen, Transmed.
Right.
I've been with them since the time I started, and this is would be my 10th assignment, if I'm not wrong. And I started in sales.
Right.
There is a position in our industry in FMCG in this market called
Yes.
merchandising, which is basically an entry-level
Right.
sales position. So I went from there
Right.
to a sales rep, to an key account executive, and then I remember during one of the sessions, the one-on-one
Yep.
developmental sessions, again a domain of HR. One of my managers asked me, "What do you want to do
Okay.
next?" So I said, "Listen, I need to do something for training the people who are at the entry level of sales." And the company was kind enough to create a
Okay.
position for that thing in particular because that was the need of the hour. So that's how I
Right.
entered into sales slash HR. From there, uh, I entered as a recruitment and training officer. After
Okay.
which I asked, again requested during one of my one-on-one sessions, the employee performance
Right.
review the annual review sessions. I want to know, how do we pay salaries? How do we decide what is the pay scale for a particular position? And they were kind enough again
Right.
to give me the role of a personnel manager, which was all about payroll processing, employee policies, and after which we created a new position, which was again where the HR domain was heading, which is something called a HR business partner. So currently, my
Right.
role is that of an HR business partner, which involves assisting the business function. So you're assigned to a particular business function, and you assist them with everything related from hiring to retirement. I wouldn't call it hiring
Okay.
to firing because it's a very strong term. So from hiring to
True.
retirement, and within that, while I was doing that, I got the opportunity to further enhance my skills in HR by doing something of an MSc in HR from a reputed university in Scotland. And
Right.
after completing that, I felt that there's still a need for some more learning in this to keep yourself in line, or you can say in sync with what's happening in the market. That's when
Right.
I came across Amity. Okay, that's
Right.
I was looking for courses. So you have the standard, the IPDs and SHRMs, and which would be on the card sometime in the future, hopefully. I came across something,
Okay.
and correct me, help me here, Shotamitra. It used to be called
Right.
Careers of Tomorrow, COT, or Courses of
Yes,
Tomorrow.
it was called Careers of Tomorrow.
Careers of Tomorrow. So I landed on
Yes.
a page which had something from Amity called Careers of Tomorrow, and looked very, very interesting because it was so much non-traditional, so much to do with innovation, and so much with what you see in the field. And being a
Right.
practitioner, you could easily relate to some need that could fulfill for you. And I remember three that were listed there. One was blockchain. Then you
Right.
had something on cryptocurrency,
Okay.
and we had HR analytics. So I clicked on it and signed up, put my details, and promptly the second day I had a call from MET explaining the course.
Right.
And that's how you could say the whole journey started, to put it
That's
briefly.
wonderful. That's wonderful. So, Mr. Purushottam, I do understand that you are using HR analytics in your domain right now because it's the need of the hour, as you were saying. And do you have, and you were also mentioning that you have some plans to further enhance your skill sets in HR domain as well. So, if you can just
Definitely.
elucidate about how you're using HR analytics right now in your current job role.
Okay. Now, for the people who are listening to us at the moment, and for myself, the usage of HR analytics is something which is here to stay. Okay.
Right.
Now, depending on what kind of an industry you're in, at the same time, what kind of a market you operate in, and what's the strength of your company in terms of what you do, because there are many companies which have full-fledged HR functions. You have a
Right.
certain resource for employee well-being, you have another resource for onboarding, you have another resource for the exit plans. And there are some organizations who don't have resources like that. It depends on, again, the size of the
Right.
organization, how mature your organization is, and how mature your market is. Now, if you take HR analytics, the beauty of this is that you can apply it anywhere you are in this whole grid. Okay,
Right.
you could use it from making the right selection. I was looking at it recently just to stay abreast of what's happening on this, and there was something done by a major IT company. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to take names on this panel.
No, no, you
However,
can. You can go
I
ahead.
can, if I
You can.
can.
Yes.
So this was Cisco, who used HR analytics
Wow.
to see where they can open the next office, just like
Right.
which is very different. So what they did was they
Yes.
used HR, the power of data analytics. So there was somebody who said that data is the new oil, data is the new currency. Okay, and you can see that
That's
happening
true.
with big data scientists positions, and then how that translates later on into augmented reality and artificial intelligence. So
Yes.
coming back a few steps, uh, organization use it from everything from, let's say, where they want to open their next office, depending on where the top talent is available related to their needs, and how would that then meet their requirement of making sure that the employees have a good work-life balance. Because in the end, if you look at
That's
all the
wonderful.
studies, there have been companies who've been using it for recruitment, for engagement, for analyzing exit strategies, to predicting who might leave next, why they might leave, and it's all about synergizing. It helps the operations link up well to the strategy of the organization. And if you look at the research on the Shotamitra, you will
Yep.
see that for every $1 a company invests in HR analytics, the return has been anything between $3 to $13,
Wow.
which is fabulous.
That's
Which is
that's
fabulous.
fantastic
Okay,
actually. 13,000
absolutely.
percent. That's crazy.
You could it is indeed crazy. And again, this is validated. It's not that you throw something from you're talking about data coming from the big four auditors who publish it online. It's all in the virtual domain. It's not something which is
Right.
not be seen by anyone. Now, what does that tell you? That tells you that
Yes.
organizations going forward will invest a lot more in HR analytics.
Right.
Okay, and with that, the need will come for people who are competent to work on those factors. or work on those elements. So
Okay.
it's not about the traditional people management, payroll management, personnel management anymore. You could see HR as a domain or as a function contributes a lot more or can contribute a lot more to an organization's bottom line versus before. And this through the use of analytics.
True.
Okay, and
That's
if I the way I see it, we are barely scratching the surface when it comes to the usage of
right.
analytics in different areas. We are barely scratching the surface, and you would see, and surprisingly, from the limited view that I have on what different organizations or which universities are offering, I think Amity has been ahead of the curve slightly in terms of offering courses which are relevant or more relevant, you could say, to the domains for from a practicality point of view. And at the same time, you could have people who are already in the domain enhancing their skills further by taking these on.
That's great to know. Thank you, Mr. Purushottam, for that appreciation. So, just because you were saying that because we are barely scratching the surface, we have certain, say, names which come up like people analytics, or say the entire HR dashboard, which is completely
I,
using.
I'm sorry, Shotamitra. I lost your last
Right.
sentence. I'm so sorry. I lost your last
Right,
sentence. Could
right.
you repeat
So
it for me, please?
I will repeat it. So you have these terms which are coming into the say prominence, like your HR dashboards, your people analytics. Then you are getting your entire say HR structure, which is the recruitment is being done by the analytics part itself. Looking at what kind of component bends we can provide to the say employees which are currently in the company itself. So when you have so many varieties of say analytical tools or analytical approach which is being taken up by different companies, where do you think that say in the next couple of years because of COVID scenario as well, do you think analytics will be the major prominent say determinant in the HR process itself?
I can put it very simply. To put it in
Okay.
very simple words, HR analytics will have its finger in every pie of HR. Okay,
Okay.
and
All right.
or every function, or at the same time, it could have in different domains as well. I mean, you could use it to
Okay.
decide in an outcome of customer service, basically. How you can tweak your HR
Okay.
functions in terms of engagement, customer support, payroll processes, payouts, commissions, to make sure that your customer is more satisfied in the end, and that impacts again the bottom line. Okay. Now,
Correct.
whether it is COVID, whether it is post-COVID, I would see the situation on the COVID as not a complete roadblock. We are not at a dead end of the road. We're just on a hump. Okay. It might just slow things down, but
Right.
once things
True.
are back, once you have things back to a near normalcy, which I hope we go there soon, which I hope we go there soon, you will see you'll see a lot of steam gathering again on all the processes or coming back to the normalcy. Or even if you have the new norm, you would definitely have analytics involved in every function of HR. And again, that could go from right from recruitment and selection, onboarding, employee engagement, setting up rewards. Uh, you could call performance management, exit processes. So again, from hiring to retirement, you could definitely see the value of analytics or HR analytics. Um, uh, Staying, it's here to stay. If I have to put it in a nutshell.
All right, all right. Thank you for that insight, Mr. Purushottam. So, as a person who has been involved in the HR processes and HR domain for so long, although we might have some attendees who are experienced in this domain as well, but what would your advice be to say, like freshers or just people who have started up in this HR domain? Like, how would you advise them to, trace their path in this entire domain, or say like use HR analytics also in some way or the other?
Okay, it's just about, you could say, if I have to quote Stephen Covey, it's about sharpening your saw. Okay, it's just about
Okay.
making sure that you're equipped with the right skill set to meet any challenges that might come in the domain. You don't want to be caught like a deer in the headlights when the domain changes, when when situations changes and you're not equipped enough as an organization or as an individual to support the organization at that time. Having said that,
Yes.
it all depends on the market you're in, the kind of industry you're in, and with the kind of
Okay.
organization you're in. Ideally, it would not be advisable for anybody to think of HR analytics, which will help you parachute onto a position and come and land and work
Right.
wonders and work your magic wand, and it's a panacea for everything. It's not like that. The ideal scenario would be for a lot of cross-functional training within HR for people to understand the benefits of it better. So if somebody is
Okay.
starting fresh, it is always advisable to start from the ground, work your way up, go through the grind. Okay, because when it comes to some jobs, if it's not that if I am a master's in HR, this task is menial for me. Okay, it's important for us to go through the
Right.
grind and go through be it for a brief time, just to understand how it operates, so that later on, when you're in a position to influence it, using analytics, you come up with a much more viable and a much more sustainable solution.
True.
You know?
Okay.
So the
That
idea is
I
to
suppose that's,
get
yeah.
a hang. So that would help the career mapping better for a future if you're if you're aspiring to be an HR manager in a large organization or an HR director handling multiple regions. It's always good to know how different processes function, what are the enhancements that are possible, and of course how they're relevant to the local laws, because there's also a big thing of compliance with the local authorities when it comes to
True.
the laws of the land with regards to the labor organizations.
Right. Thank you. That was great to know about that. So, Mr. Purushottam, now I'm coming to the part where we discuss about how Amity Future Academy would help you out, and what was your experience with Amity Future Academy actually? Uh,
Okay.
it was called Careers of
It,
Tomorrow previously, but now it's Amity Future
absolutely.
Academy. So,
Okay, it's a nice it's been rechristened in a nice manner. Okay, but
right.
somehow the COT struck as well.
Okay.
As I said, in terms of the background of HR, I was fortunate
Right.
enough to be exposed to an MSc in HR from a reputed university in Scotland. It's called
Yes.
the Hereford University, and they have an arm called the Edinburgh Business School, which dates back almost 100 odd years, and very, very comprehensive in terms of getting to know the domain.
Very well-renowned
However,
institution as well, Mr. Purushottam.
it's just you could say it's a blessing. Now, having said that,
Right.
you what you see there or what you see everywhere else is very relevant. Okay, but does that complete the whole puzzle with what you want to do today? Okay.
True.
Uh, for any professional wanting to excel in their domain, you would need to know how could you do things better, faster, smarter, with much more impact, and or you could reach your organizational goals faster. Okay, and you need tools
Correct.
like analytics to help you do that, whether it is in HR, whether it is in supply chain, whether it is in IT. We know keeps changing from time to time. People keep updating themselves on their certifications to stay relevant. If I have to use that word, so this something like this helps you stay relevant and it helps
Right.
you make a bigger difference. Okay, it's like that last piece in the puzzle which would complete the whole offering. And congratulations to Amity for coming up with something like this, which is structured in a way where if I'm a full-time employee in an organization, I can still focus on my education, buy a certification, and that too, which is very, very well structured. So my experience with the course in itself has been fabulous, uh, for the simple reason that this course content is very relevant. The people who were delivering the content were experts in the industry, so you know that you're talking to people who know their stuff. Okay, or you're learning from people who know their stuff, who've been there ahead of you in that domain. Okay, who work with companies who are masters at data analytics, and they're just utilizing those learnings, share and reapply to HR,
Right.
using all the right tools. And I like the flow of the whole certification. You start off, so for anybody who's never been in HR, the first topic is an introduction to HR, the different functions of HR, and then slowly and gradually we build on to the analytics part. Then we go from simple analytics, metrics. I was a big fan of Tableau,
Right.
the small subscription that we got to see, and it was simply wow, it's possible. This you can do this, all right.
Right.
For somebody who's not from an IT background, it was a good. So you had that, and then you went on to advanced analytics. You went on to correlation, causation, predictive analytics, and then in the end, you have a beautiful capstone project which kind of sums everything up. And what it does, Shautamitra, is that it helps
Yeah.
you not only rely on what you see on the app or on the structure or in the modules. It forces you to
Right.
go and look for it elsewhere. So you kind of build on
True.
your knowledge with it, and that helps you with the case studies.
Right.
So the case studies are very beautiful, very relevant, and it really expands your knowledge on different parameters to see how you can do better with it.
Right. Great. So,
And let me add to it if I can. I'm sorry
yeah,
to cut
yeah,
you
yeah,
off.
sure.
Let me add to it.
No,
In
no.
terms of a support, if I as a student have a concern, the turnaround time was almost within 24 hours. So if
Right.
I have a concern, so I get to reply, listen, that this will be like this. You can go to the message board, okay, and we will find you an answer to your query over there.
Right. Okay. So that was about your experience, and it was wonderful that you actually like had this much of learning, and you actually found the course structure quite relevant to the domain that you were learning in. Like, sorry, you're
Definitely.
working, not learning. Uh, Now, moving ahead, I would like to tell all of our attendees that whatever points that Mr. Purushottam had put in are present in the curriculum as of now. And the curriculum has not changed a lot. Only thing is, the same modules are there, the case studies are also there, and we have a few new, say, tools which have been put in. Like Anaconda was not there, I suppose, at that point of time, Mr. Purushottam, when you were learning.
No, it was not. Jupyter was there. We had Jupyter,
Jupyter
and
was
there
there.
was
So
you had, of course, the advanced version of Excel.
yes, so advanced Excel is a key component to all the analytics courses. And so we do try to keep this course as much as relevant to, say, a fresher as well as for a person who has some experience and exposure in the domain. We do help students with some basic preparatory and advanced preparatory before the course commencement as well, so that they have something to go through, something to understand about what they might be facing when they come into the course itself. And during the course, we do have our student success partners as well as our mentors and faculties, as well as a program team who will be helping you through completing the course itself, because it's a mixture of both live sessions as well as say some recorded lectures. So it becomes kind of like you are self-learning as well as you have some guidance to complete the course as well. And so, Mr. Purushottam, you were saying that data analytics and say analytics as in the part of say HR is going to be say very relevant in the times to come also, and it is, as you mentioned, uh, HR analytics finger will be in all the pies of HR. It was a
Definitely.
beautiful quote. That is why I'm re-quoting you again. So, do you think the current course will again be relevant to the industry or and the current market which is going on for the students to pick it up as well?
Shatabatra, no doubt at all. In fact, if I were to look at what's offered on the course and what a company does, what an organization does, I would again keep it uh, relevant to the fact that it depends on how big the HR function in the organization is, how big the organization is, how mature is the organization, what kind of a market do they operate in, and what are the local laws of the country. Okay, whether it's part of compliance that you have to
Right,
do certain things, or it's just part of interest out of well-being of people that you do it. Having said that, I'm really, really excited and happy to see that you have something new over there. So you had a python, now you have an anaconda. Maybe you have a cobra in the future. I don't know if that comes in. But having said that, the key here, Shautamitra, the key is to keep it relevant, like how you've demonstrated now, uh, to ensure that it kind of depends. Now, if you look at it, most of these programs might give you the same answer. You're just taking a different method to go to it. Okay.
Right.
And as a user, I have the luxury and the flexibility to utilize what suits my need and what I'm comfortable with,
True.
or what is the
Right.
domain my organization uses. So if I'm using something of a Microsoft BI, or I'm using a Google Studio, or I'm using a Tableau, okay, everything is covered in this, whether it is touch base. And again, it also depends on me as an individual learner on how deep I want to go with it. Okay,
Sure.
it's a very good way to set the path, but how far I go with it is up to me.
Correct. Right.
Okay, but then the course covers what is relevant for me at that time.
Right.
So and good to know that there is enhancements on those.
Sure. All right. So, with that, I'll be coming to the conclusion of this webinar. Uh, so, for all of you who have joined us right now, our our counselors will be connecting with you pretty soon after this session. They'll be talking to you about whether you are interested in going ahead with this HR course, because we have something of a free learning month which was also going in for our most of our attendees will be from that domain itself who have come from our free learning month courses. But in extension to that, we have this course for our PGP HRA course, which will be commencing on the 25th of September. So the counselors will connect with you, try to understand if this course will help you in your career goals as well as your learning goals, achieving your learning goals ahead. And based on that, there are certain scholarships as well, which are available based on student profiles. You can discuss with them on that. But also, the main thing is you'll be getting the recording of this webinar in the mail by tomorrow. And we thank Mr. Purushottam for being such, like, giving us so many insights and briefing us through how the HR process can benefit through the HR analytics domain, and how HR analytics is going to say, drive HR operations in the time to come. Thank you so much, Mr. Purushottam.
Thank you to
Right.
Shotamitra. Thank you, everybody. Thanks a lot.
So, with that, I'll conclude that webinar, and thank you all for joining us. Hope that we can keep you helping you out in your learning goals as well as achieving your professional goals as well.